What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you one of the best budget keyboards under $50 that can easily be modded. Now, when it comes to mechanical keyboards under that $50 price point, you actually would be surprised how many options you have. From some of the more well-known boutique companies like Acco and EpoMaker, as well as some of these cheaper boards that can be found on Amazon, such as EUSO, Havoc, MageKey, and even Red Dragon. And unfortunately, when it comes to boards under 50 bucks, a lot of times you're going to be missing out on a lot of different things. For example, you might get great keycaps, great switches, but then you get a horrible build quality and a very tinny sound. Or on the flip side of that, you might get great build quality and great dampening, but then you're left with these horrible blue clicky loud switches and these terribly cut keycaps. So I made it my mission to find one of the best mechanical keyboards under $50 that comes as a complete unit that you can go to Amazon right now and buy and get delivered to your door. And this is what I found. This right here is the Royal Kludge RK68. And this keyboard looks so basic, cute, and compact, and had a price tag of $43. So I couldn't hold back, had to buy this thing, get it in hands, and review it. Now, first up, what is the RK68? The RK68 is a 65% layout board that can be used wired or wireless with built-in Bluetooth 5.1. It does feature a hot swappable PCB and can fit 3 or 5 pin switches, as well as having north-facing LEDs. Now, like I mentioned, this can be used wired or wireless, and using it wireless with the Bluetooth functionality, you can actively switch between 3 different devices that are connected at the same time. Now, this version of the RK68 that I have is the single color blue backlit version. There is a full RGB version of this board available, and at the time of filming, there was only a $2 price difference between the RGB and the single color blue backlit versions. And I know a lot of you are going to ask, Cole, why the hell didn't you get the RGB version for $2 more? Well, that's actually quite simple. It's because I'm an adult and I don't care about RGB. Let's talk about what you get out of the box. Again, out of the box, I don't think that you can expect too much packing here with a keyboard that only costs $43. I will say it does have custom fit cardboard cutouts to hold this thing nicely, but when you open this bad boy up, the first thing that you notice is that it comes with a decently robust user manual. And I will tell you right now, do not throw that thing away because you will need it to figure out some of the features of this keyboard. Now, with this keyboard being a 65% layout, you are going to have some dual functionality keys. So on Windows, that's going to be your F1 through 12, and on Mac, that's going to be your function buttons at the top. Now, after you pull out the keyboard, the first thing that I notice is that this actually does have a really good weight to it. The case itself is molded nicely with a few different features on it, and overall, it just feels like a decently well-built keyboard compared to some of those cheaper models that straight up feel like you're typing on a cardboard box. So I was very excited to see that the build quality was as good as it is. It comes with a standard USB Type A to USB Type C connection cord. This keyboard does have a center mount for the USB-C cord, which is not my favorite, but it's by no means a deal breaker. It just might be annoying to some of you coiled cable users like myself. You also get a dual function keycap puller and switch puller that's branded with Royal Kludge's logo. And then lastly, you get a little baggie with 4 extra switches in it. And as you can tell on this specific model, I went with the brown tactile switches. But we'll dive further into those here in a little bit. Now, taking a look at the keycaps, they are double shot ABS plastic keycaps, and they are an OEM type keycap. Like I mentioned, the keycaps are double shot, so you don't have to worry about any fading on any of the keycaps, and they do feature a translucent see-through design on the letters and characters. And again, for $43, these are pretty well cut. I don't see too many issues or blemishes across the board. Now, like I said, I went with the brown switch option on these, and when you pull these bad boys out, you can see that they're RK branded, so they are just a house switch. But again, like I said, this keyboard is hot swappable, so most 3-pin or 5-pin switches switches are going to work in this board, but I will say overall feel is still really good. They don't feel super wobbly, and they are more than able to be taken straight out of the box and used right away. And I believe on Royal Kludge's website, it states that these switches are rated to 50 million clicks, but we're probably not going to use them long enough to find that out. But overall, you actually get lube stabilizers on this board, and I have to say on spacebar and some of your shift and enter keys, these stabilizers are actually really good for this price point. I mean, these compete with boards that I've had in the $100 price range. So that's definitely great to see. But all in all, great keyboard out of the box. And like I've mentioned, it has some pretty great features for being only $43 currently. Now, who is this keyboard for? So in my honest opinion, this keyboard is really anybody who is on a budget, whether you're a gamer, professional looking for a nice work from home keyboard, or you're just someone who wants to try out a 65% layout and you don't want to break the bank. Because I have to say, for $43, this might be one of the best keyboards that I've held in my hands, as it's just sleek. The case design is nice. I mean, it just has a good overall build quality. I mean, listen to this. But anyway, I mean, this board all the way around is great looking. Angles are nice. The keycaps are pretty good. The switches are okay, but again, I don't know what you'd expect for house brand brown switches. But again, for $43, this level of build quality and purely the fact that it is hot swappable, so we can mod this thing, just makes this a great decision in my mind. Plus, I love this 65% layout because this allows you to have that small compact size that you're looking for on your desk, but still allows you to have that functionality with the arrow keys especially. So I get it. You're like, Cole, oh my God, this is a paid ad. You're just saying great things about this board. Well, let's get into some of the cons of this thing. So first and foremost, one of the biggest things that I can see moving forward with this board is that it is only able to be connected to wireless via Bluetooth. It doesn't have a 2.4 gigahertz dongle, nor does it allow for that type of connection. So if your computer or your system doesn't have Bluetooth, you are SOL out of the gate. And even if you do, Bluetooth sometimes can be less reliable than a 2.4 gigahertz connection, but for the most part, Bluetooth 5.1 is pretty good, and I've had no issues so far. But again, it's really just a lack of modularity that makes that a con for me. The other con is not really a con, just a personal gripe, but I really dislike when they put the USB Type-C mount in the middle of the board. So if you want to use this as a wired board, and you're like myself, and you love your coiled cables, having it in the center just kind of messes up your whole aesthetic, because the coiled cable is going to be sticking out too far on either one of the sides, and it just doesn't look the best. But again, I know, nitpicky, not too big of a deal. And then lastly, the only other issue that I have out of the box with this keyboard is an issue that I have with any 60 or 65% keyboards in general, being that because they are so small, a lot of these keycaps are going to have a lot of different characters on them to be able to utilize the dual function of the keyboard. So in this case, press the FN button. And then like, for example, on the top row, you've got all of these buttons on the top that when you're on Windows, if you use FN button, that's going to be your F1 through 12. And then on Mac, that's just going to be your top function buttons. But the issue is because they are dual purpose buttons, you can't really just slap any old set of keycaps on here unless you want to have like a periodic table of all of the different buttons and functionalities that those keys do for the keyboard, or you just have like a photographic memory, because standard keycaps for the most part aren't going to have all of those different extra functions on them. So it does limit your options when it comes to swapping out the keycaps. But if you're like myself and you really don't care and you have a Stream Deck that uses all your macros anyway, then none of those extra buttons even really matter, besides being able to change the actual lighting effects of the keyboard. But again, that's not really an issue with this keyboard. It's just mostly the smaller compact like 60 or 65% boards in general. So all in all, after getting this keyboard in hand, using it for about a week, I have to say that it's actually a really good keyboard, especially for $43. Because again, out of the box, you're getting a great keyboard, and depending on your switch preference, you might have a better experience than myself, as I don't tend to like tactile switches. So these brown switches that it has are not my favorite, but it does come in a red switch option or a blue clicky switch option. But even then, all of that doesn't even really matter because it is hot swappable. And much like myself, I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that would buy this keyboard and mod the thing and make it your own, which is exactly what I plan to do. And I haven't figured out yet if I want to do like a matcha build for this or like an ice cream rainbow build, but I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below. I might take your feedback to heart. But either way, I mean, this RK68 is just a fire keyboard for $43. So all in all, I mean, for $43, what an awesome keyboard that is hot swappable and can be used wired or wireless on both Windows and Mac. Now, before I get to my final thoughts on this board, let's check out the typing test and hear what those tactile brown switches sound like. So there you have it. Again, these brown tactile switches aren't my personal favorite. I would want to switch them to something heavy and linear, like an Acco Jelly Black or like a Gateron Milky Yellow, like I have on my EPO maker. But either way, I'm sure you're going to see this keyboard on the channel again because I like to customize my keyboards, so this one's definitely going to get the special treatment. But all in all, to summarize, this is an amazing keyboard for $43. I was definitely really blown away by the build quality, the overall sound, and just the aesthetic of the board. Again, I mean, it's a nice looking board. The angle is great, and I love this 65% layout. Honestly, I think it's one of the best layouts because it's compact but still full of function. So if you are interested in this keyboard, I will link it down in the video description below, and I'll throw a link down there as well for the RGB variant just in case you want a little bit more color in your life. But that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did like the video, drop me one of these. I'd really appreciate it. And let me know down in the comments below what you think I should do with this keyboard next. Should I leave it stock as is? That's never going to happen. Or let me know how I should build it. Should I do like a matcha build with it, or like an ice cream rainbow sandwich, maybe anime? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below. And if you liked this video and you like the content that I've been putting out lately, make sure and hit that subscribe button. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, I mean, hey, how much longer do I have to do this stupid bit for? I mean, what are you doing? Thanks for tuning in, guys. And as always, stay happy, stay healthy. Peace.